All right, so today we have more ducks. You'll notice that, oh my goodness, hello. You'll notice that we have two littler ones, these ones. Oh my goodness, you're getting me. On top of the bigger ones. There's one right here. Yeah, and then there's this one. They're getting some swim time. And this is just a Tupperware container, and I fill up water and let them swim in basically until they get tired. They're still fairly young, so I don't do it alone. So I have one greenhouse now because the wind got that one, and most of my plants had the AC's on because it's freaking hot. But anyway, so as you can see, most of my things are kind of suffering right now. We had to rescue them after a pretty awful storm. Another bad windstorm, so I lost probably a third of my crops, vegetables, whatever, which is very sad and upsetting. But that's just nature. I finally started on this. This is this morning when it's finally not 100 to start the day. This is a lot harder. You'll notice that our shovels are quite old. The wood is really hard to hold. You can't really tell, but I've got a massive blister that busted, got pus everywhere, and I have two little mini blisters underneath that because I have soft baby hands. I'm dumping it over there because there's kind of a dip in the land, so I'm going to do that over there. And then there's a spot by our house over here that has a dip where yellow belly racers keep coming out. I don't want to go under the house. I'm sure it's just a nasty big old snake ball, which is gross. God cursed those things for a reason. So yeah, we outlined the area, the big old square area, and then kind of teed it off this way, and then did it again here and there. Had to soak the ground, and as you can kind of tell, this is super dense red clay. That's really unfortunate. It makes for kind of a pain in the ass excavating, but we used a lot of water. We're about to be in like a drought, or we're already in a drought. Texas is usually in a drought by now, unfortunately, but we're about to go up a level from what I'm understanding, which is not going to be fun. Everybody decides, wait, I need to turn on my sprinklers all the time. By the time that, hey, we're taking all sorts of well water and this, and y'all need to stop. And it's like, no, we're going to do it more, which is fun. The chickens have eaten all of the leaves off of one of my trees, which is pretty irritating. I'm going to have to go get, it's just a stick now. You can barely see it, but there's a couple little bitty ones that are still on there, or that just grew up. Sorry, I'm cleaning this up. So I'm going to need like a tree cone, basically like a dog cone, but for the tree so the chickens stop. It's been ungodly hot, as I've said. 105 has been kind of the low. So one of my trees is like excuse me, there's a lot of Saharan dust in the air, and I have pretty terrible asthma. But anyway, this one's still okay, but it's dry because 1 week or once a week watering on these while the heat wave is going on is not all that kind. Again, this is where I'm dumping all my dirt. We have wild cats. I say wild because somebody feeds them, but they don't keep them in the house. So we have a bunch of cats that come over here, which is really kind of annoying. But they get underneath and over, and there's just no keeping them out. Compost pile is still a compost pile, of course, but there's a bunch of chickens that are constantly in it every morning. There's the husband and the daughter. Every morning you let them out, and then they run underneath the porch, and then they do their like hen fighting and establishing dominance, and then they whoop this way and all the way to the compost pile every morning without fail. This is their morning routine. It's really funny to watch. Oh, there's Backlund and Bingo. Watching.
I realize we should rename one of the hens if they become the best fighter.
Oh.
Only UFC folks will get this. We should name it Henzo Gracie.
Henzo Gracie. It'll probably be one of the Leghorns. They are beautiful. Like I said, I don't think I'm getting more of them just because they're fairly, in the morning before I let them out, I pet on them and, hold them and basically force some love on them because, I don't like animals that are skittish. I understand when they've been traumatized, that's one thing. My chickens are spoiled rotten. my poor little whatever tree this is. I think it's a fruit, some kind of fruit bearing tree. But as you can see, poor thing, it's just withering. That whole area, we've got a bunch of mushrooms coming up. They're all the bad kind, you can't eat them. But I don't know if I showed everybody this. We finished the burn pit, but immediately thereafter had a burn ban, so we're not allowed to burn anything. So we have piles of junk, and now the grass is overgrown, but this was a lot of trouble. It doesn't look all that great, but you know, we're working with what we've got. So we dug a pit, like digging a pit, metalheads will get that, and then filled it in with all the crap we were gonna burn, and then immediately thereafter burn ban, and then our neighbors have a giant pile of stuff that they burned the day after. It was taller than I am, and I'm damn near 6 foot. I was like, ooh, that's gonna spread. We had, I think, 15,000. What burns over? How many? Was it square feet? Like 11,000 square feet of burnt stuff over past Tolder.
Oh, you're talking about the fire? Like
yeah, the very recent fire. Yeah,
yeah, 11,000 square acres.
Yeah, man, it looked like, I don't even know what, it looked like those big storm clouds were rolling in, and then it smelled, you know, acrid. You're like, wait a minute. Quit, baby. That's a stick.
Quit eating the duck water.
So, ew, gross. But this is the area I've been cleaning up most often. It's still, well, yeah, the chickens help unearth stuff, because you'll notice that there's still junk, there's still concrete, there's still a bunch of icky stuff. I do this probably once a week. I'll come out here and I'll collect all of the stuff I find. Currently, ow, I've got a big freaking blister on that hand. I don't know why I did that. But yeah, so I mean, just in this little area, got a bunch of crap. And like I said, I do this probably once a week at least, just to make sure. But the chickens are very helpful in like unearthing things. So if you want things scratching up your areas, if you got junk and you want it out, get some chickens. I mean, there's a lot of other good reasons to do so, but yep, they find all sorts of junk that I need to pick up. And so far, none of them have eaten it, which is pretty neat. Yeah, see, here's my current junk pile that I need to come clean up today at some point. It's not as ungodly hot as usual, which is super nice. We actually took advantage of that nice weather to go out to the Creation Museum over here in Glen Rose, which is, you know, just as a quick note, evolution is still a theory. It still hasn't been proven. So if you're interested in finding alternative things like, you know, there was God. In the beginning, God. And then tree bark, you know, just junk. But anyway. So yeah, we haven't had a whole lot of progress outside just because it's so stinking hot. Still need to paint the coop. Was telling myself I was going to get paint for I don't know how long, and then the one day I was going to go get paint, it was actually really stinking humid and rained for about 15 seconds. I was like, of course! Got my junk pile. Recently redid, didn't muck anything out, but here's the chicken coop. If your coop is well maintained, it doesn't stink like, you know, terrible poop. What I recently did is put another layer down of diatomaceous earth, and then another couple inches of the pine shavings, which this is what I use usually. It's upside down, forgive me, but that's what I use. That or the pine, it doesn't matter. Just let it kind of, you know, it's low in dust, but it still is kind of dusty, so do it while your chickens aren't in here. My chickens are just about, they're actually, let's see, yeah, they're almost 3 months old. Come here, sweet baby. I don't know if they'll come to me right now or not. Huh? I think I mentioned it. Hey, Goldie. Hi, sweet girl. I know you're my beautiful baby. She's so sweet. You know, I started off, it's funny, I think I've said this a million times, it's still otherworldly to me. Look, rusty nail. There's a bunch of junk under here. Hey, sweet baby girl. I think I said a million times, but this is my favorite chicken. She is my sweetest baby girl. I love her so much. I know, you tell them. And then my Barrocks, you know, they were initially very crazy and very annoying. Yep, this is junk. Thank you. Nope, it's junk. Go away. Goldie. That's thing one. Yeah, that's junk. Thank you. But they were initially my least favorites, and they have quickly become my favorites. They are my angel babies, and nobody better mess with them. Very sweet girls. I have neighbors that are constantly partying. This one's me, though. But neighbors that are constantly partying, so I think it's a daily ritual of coming out and seeing what beer cans and glass and random crap is flown into my yard on top of all of the icky stuff. So that's fun. But yeah, we're up to a kill count of 3 snakes. We found, I think, one came over here, and that one got hunted down by my husband and macheted the hell out of, and it eventually died. And we had a couple big old buzzards right over there fighting over it, which was actually kind of neat. They're ugly as sin, but man, they're kind of cool looking. You know, they're cute in a really ugly kind of way. These are my clay dirty shoes. Oh, no. My ducks get some swim time. Oh my goodness, little babies. Oh my goodness. And the Romans are still kind of skittish. So I try to pet on them gently, you know. Oh my goodness, little babies. They get enough swim time to make them kind of tired. Thank you. These ones came in, you know, they're the assorted ones. So you don't know what they are. Thank you. They're assorted, so you don't totally know what you're getting. I Googled these guys just because that's a piece of lettuce that I left for the chickens. They eat about half of it, and then the other half, they're like, too hot. Yeah, it's going to be another well into hundreds day, but I try to gently pet on them. I just bought, like literally earlier today, bought a duck manual about things I should know about ducks. These little ones are super sweet, and then these big ones are still a little skittish. I brought them, you know, on 100-day weather. They were in my office with me, and they were, you know, they were okay with that. And they'd eventually get used to you and your noises. Oh my goodness. They're very much into each other. So I guess like when they hatched, they kind of bonded, because I think ducks are like the imprinting. They're very sweet. None of them have names yet. The chickens don't know what to think about them. Some of the like when I first pulled them down here, all of the chickens came around and were like, "What the hell is this? What did you bring out here?" And it was super funny. But here's our area. Like I said, AC is very loud. This is their favorite dust bathing spot, and you know, daily I'm pulling crap out of here. Like there's some glass, there's some glass, there's some glass, there's giant rocks, there's plastic. I don't know who lived here before us, but man, they were messy as all hell. I cheated. Out front I have a couple, like I have a little baby tomato plant and one bell pepper plant, or maybe it's a jalapeno. Either way, I got another jalapeno plant of some kind, because I'm gonna, after we get this area finished, dug up, you know, whatever, finished digging, which probably won't be today, because again, asthma, bad day, like it's hazy as all hell. You can't tell right here, but when you leave outside of town, you're like, oh my God. But this is red clay. I'm gonna put some cardboard in the bottom of it, and then some in-ground potting soil, and some of my compost, like put some of that, and then the cardboard, and then this, because then by the time that the cardboard degrades, I'm thinking maybe the manure mix of everything should be about the right level, because if you put fresh poop on your stuff, you're gonna burn it with nitrogen, and you know, whatever else. And again, this is super clay. This is like, when it's wet, you can just throw it and burn it in a kiln, and bam, you've got perfectly capable pots and pans and whatever else you want to make out of clay. It's awful. I really don't like that about my yard. But I mean, this is Texas, so either you have really gross dirt or you got some really cool dirt. We just happen to live where it's rocky and clay-y. Hopefully this will work out and I won't have to get, you know, above ground stuff, because right now the going price for all of the above ground gardening is, I think, locally anyway, you know, for the big sizable ones, about, you know, 6 feet long, or, you know, sizable enough to feed a 5-person family, they go from like $200 to $300. I'm like, oof, that's just the container. That's not the dirt or the plants or the time necessary or anything else, which is just, I don't know. In this economy, we can't do that. So this is why I'm trying to amend our yard. As you can see, it's boop, 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 boop. And then I set this over here because I'm planning on doing another one. I was tempted to rent a backhoe, but the prices here are fairly high, and then you also have to rent a trailer because we just have a minivan because we have a bunch of kids. and then an old Lincoln. Neither of which can haul things very well. And haha, we're Texans without a big ass truck. Yeah, I know. It shocks me too. There's my Gimpy. She has a hard time like perching and stuff, obviously, because her toes are doing that. But otherwise, you know, she seems pretty happy. Hello, babies. I have Napa cabbages inside that I just cut up for them. Hello, sweetness. They are so stinking cute. Baby ducks are just like, they don't stink as bad as chickens do, which again, hello, Goldie. She tells me everything. Her and Bluey, we have, our Blue Orpington is hands down the fattest one we've got. She's shot up. She's the only one with wattles. And I think she might be, it's hot, so they hide under the house because our house isn't properly insulated, so they get a breeze, like a slight breeze. So it keeps them nice and cool on a hot day. But she's probably underneath there, otherwise I'd show you. But she has like a full head of wattles and crests and everything. Everybody else is developing much, much slower. Are y'all about getting tired? Basically, I let them get tired here because they're not big enough, and I don't want them just running loose in the yard yet. Because the chickens, again, they're awfully little, and every time I let them out by themselves, the Barterocs specifically come and peck at them. So I want them to be a little bit bigger before I unleash them with the chickens. And the chickens come out because they're curious and they're like, what the hell is that? We are the only birds. Somebody didn't get the memo. Let's see, can you see them under here? Kind of. There's a butt ton of chickens like way at the back. There we go. So there's Pearl, the silver lace. There's Bluey. Hi, girl. Nice poop. You can see all of her wattles. She's sweet. Any kind of wasps, anywhere. Better watch out. She eats the hell out of wasps, the grubs, the everythings. Hey, girl. Hello, pretty baby. Yep, she's a good girl. She's the one that, like, you know, when it's hot, they don't want to be touched. They'll follow you around, and they let us know when, for instance, they don't have any food or water, because they'll meet us on the stairs. They'll be waiting for us. You'll look outside. That's my kitchen window right there. They will sit outside on our stairs, and they will stare at you, and they will make little chicken noises at you, and then you'll come in here. They will follow you in here, lead you in here specifically, and have you feed them. And then they'll come in, eat, and then they'll go immediately back under there. But they tell you, our chickens, I don't know if it's everybody's chickens or we just have attitude, you know, divas. But yeah. So that's what we've got going on. One greenhouse down, lost about a third of my crops, which is really stinking sad. The okra and everything's still very much alive, still gets grazed on by the chickens. The trees are not doing great. I have one over there that's already dead because it's stinking hot, and then one way back there that's still sort of alive. They need watering at least twice a week now, which is sad because I have to haul that water all the way in the back of the yard. Tip, be realistic when you garden. My water hose is right there. I have one of those as seen on TV hoses. It's like 30 feet long. You know, it's a grower, not a shower. But anyway, don't plant your garden out because, you know, early spring setting seeds out is super optimistic and super happy. But in the middle of summer heat, sweating down your boobs and your butt crack, and like it's hotter than sin, you're not going to want to haul your water out there. If your water hose can't reach, you're not going to want to go out there. You're not going to want to do the buckets of water. Be realistic about where you plant your garden. Hence why I have it here, because these trees shade it. You know, we have a good solid 6 hours of sun here because our house faces south, so we have a good east or westerly, you know, movement. But also we have a bunch of trees right here that cast some shade in this area, so it gets about, I want to say, 8-ish hours of solid sun. Because by noon, it's already almost noon, so let's say about 3, right before the worst heat of the day, this is shaded. But yeah, so there's your tip for gardening. Put your garden where realistically you're going to use it and want to bring your water, etc., etc. Also, I figured out, as a note, we harvested our first little bit of potatoes, which were like 5 sad little potatoes. I did not realize that I grabbed mulch on accident. This is not the garden soil, which I did not realize. My dumb self just went and grabbed, you know, I was like, oh, well, I only grabbed garden soil. And then I accidentally grabbed my remaining half bag of mulch instead. So that's fun. That's probably why my potatoes didn't do very well. So, you know, pay attention to what you're using, obviously. But I have ADHD, so I did not pay attention. It is difficult for me to do that. So I guess I'm going to turn this off, refill the girls on water, make sure my baby ducks aren't like dying of exhaustion because, you know, they like the water, but it tires them out a little bit. There they are. They're so beautiful. Hello, squeakers. Again, none of them have names. I don't know a whole lot about gendering ducks. They all look the same to me, but they're so cute. They're sweet. Again, I do several times a day. They get petted and loved on. They get lettuce because bread is bad for birds. Don't give birds bread. That's not good for them. And then still doing, forgive this mess, my daughter decided to dump out the, you know, my touch and go, because you'll refill their water several times a day at least because they play in it, they eat it, you know, they get their food and then they swish it in there. So their water is disgusting constantly, so you're constantly going to be changing this out. I did add some corn flour. No, this is Cosmos. This one was Cosmos, and the sun has since destroyed most of it. That's my last little sproutling that's trying its best. And then this one was corn flour, and as you can see, it is once more bereft of any kind of life. It is hot, it is nasty, it is humid. My lime tree is finally recovering because my chickens got a hold of it and decided that they, you know, hey, cool, human porch time. We're gonna eat it. Like, no, don't do that. Having a garden is actually really nice, and having things to distract me is actually really nice because currently losing my first grandparent. She's got cancer, and it's, you know, very bad. You know, it's one of those that came on fairly quickly, and we've had a short period of time to, I guess, come to terms with that. And she's unable to get out of bed, and she's not staying awake for very long, so it's likely that she's going to go comatose here in a couple days and then not wake up. So she's getting called to God. She's fighting it because she's a fighter, and she's, you know, the spiteful ones last forever, and I love my Nana to bits, but she can be spiteful sometimes, which I joke about the spiteful ones last forever. But this is good healing, a good healing way of dealing with grief, and, you know, working out in general is good for anxiety and depression. So if you're sad, try to work out, go get some sun, you know, do something outside, because this is ultimately what we were meant to be doing, and I wholeheartedly agree with that. But yeah, so this is helping. That was a depressing turn of events where, I mean, but we did have like 20 to 30 mile hour gusts again. So I was shocked that this even, you know, survived that long. Just as a note, dirt is awfully heavy, especially when it's wet. So if you're going to haul it around, don't fill your wheelbarrow. I filled it to the top and then dumped it on accident. You can see that it's even like dyed the grass. The clay has dyed the grass. But yeah, so today, there's my little tree. It's a stick now. Here it is. It's gone. But yeah, so it's hot, it's humid. Things are getting done very slowly because, you know, there's a million things I do in a day. I stream art, I do commissions, I watch after 3 kids. We're trying to, you know, make sure that they don't get bored to death on the summer, so I just constantly trying to do something with them because, you know, don't just set your kids in front of a stinking screen, actually do something with them. You have time, you had them, you might as well give them your time. Having kids is all about not being, you know, a selfish twat. It's all about, you know, investing in your future, in their future, in the future of the planet, you know, et cetera, getting off my soapbox now, but been busy. Hopefully we'll get more things done, have more progress to actually show you guys. But yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at, what I've learned. The yard is not much different since the last time you saw me, except for this. This is sad, but, you know, it happens. Life is all about ups and downs. Sometimes the downs are more than the ups, but, you know, you just look at the good. This urges me to do this, so there's something good. Forces progress, and progress is good. All right, well, I guess I'm done for today. I will see y'all later.